Uh, it was five of us in my family. I had my mom, my dad, me, and my twin brothers. I was oldest. At this time, I'm around 11. My brother's around 7. And in our home, we had a culture in our home was, I would say, is more of unwritten rules. Um, one would be like, as far as kids, first one to the car gets to ride in the front seat. It's a no-brainer. First one there gets to ride. We have you don't put the empty container of juice back in the refrigerator. And one of the main ones, you don't lie to your parents' face, you know. So in that, it was a summer. I want to say around the summer of about 85. Yeah, roughly 85. My mother was a school teacher and she was home for the summer, and my dad worked at NASA, so he worked second shift. So we love to always, when your kids are home for school, we love to eat and drink up everything. So we kind of got on a little punishment because we were just consuming everything. So my mother said, you know what? I Nothing but water. You guys just drink water. You're drinking too much stuff. So my father had this thing. He loved Coca-Cola. So he had this 2-liter bottle that he would put in the refrigerator. So me, out of the kids, I was known as the slickster of the bunch. So as my dad would, he would leave at 3 o'clock in the evening and come home around 11 at night. So me and my brothers, we would see my dad leave, and we'd look in the refrigerator, and there it was, a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. Now I looked at it as, woo, man, just drinking water. I don't like that. So I came up with a plan. I said, you know what? I'm gonna get some of this soda, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mark it and I'm gonna fill it back up. Now, as I looked at this soda, I felt like, I guess you could say, I felt like I was in Lord of the Rings, and I see the ring, and I'm like, oh, precious, precious. So every time my father would leave, I would go and I'd get me some, I'd pop the cap, and I would pour me a little bit, and I'd drink it, and I'd put it back under the water, and fill it back up, and put it back in the refrigerator. Did it about once or twice. And then, my brothers, they saw me doing it. And they're like, ooh, that's the international trouble siren. Ooh. And I'm like, shut up, shut up. So, this went on. So as my dad would come home, there would be, he'd say, I'm thirsty. He'll go into the refrigerator and he'll get him something to drink, and he'll, whoo. The first day he sort of looked at his cup like, so I'm kind of like, we're good. So that was like on Monday. Then I did it again on Tuesday, and I repeated it again on Wednesday. And by this time, my father came home early. So in that, we heard the car roll up, and we noticed this. Hey, my dad's home. So not thinking nothing else about it, yes, me. We're all in our rooms, we're probably upstairs or something like that. And my dad comes home, as always, like clockwork. He wants something to drink, so he goes into the refrigerator, gets his Coke. And this time he pours in his cup. Now, mind you, everybody who has drinking Coke or Pepsi, you know that you love it because there's certain fizz in your throat. As when you drink it, it just bubbles down and just you get this good Well, he was robbed of that. He didn't get the nice bubble sensation going down in the burn sensation. So therefore, we heard him downstairs, and I heard a loud thump. He says, "Down, Main, Mall, get down here now." Now, at this time, we all hear this. So we're all eyes big as quarters. Like, whoa. So we know what that sounds. I mean, we know this isn't like, hey, look, y'all, I got a surprise for you. No, he's pissed. So we file downstairs, do. And, he's waiting there with his hand on his hip. Pepsi bottle's on the counter. He has his hand around it. And he's just standing there waiting. So all three of us come up there. So you know the code among siblings, you don't tell. You don't tell. So I'm like, well, my brothers, they know. I'm not worried about this. So my dad says, who's been drinking my soda? The first twin, the youngest twin, Jamar. Dad, I did not touch it. Jermaine, the next twin, the oldest twin, Dad, I had nothing to do with it. I don't know. So my dad looks at me and said, Darrell, who drank my soda? Of course. What else would I say? I don't know. On me. Now I know in my mind, like, okay, strike one. I lied directly to his face, but it's okay. Maintain. So my dad says, okay. All right. Nobody knows. Now, my dad made emphasis on the fact that I bought this soda on a Sunday. For some reason, every time I drink it, it never goes down. And it's getting flatter and flatter every day. But nobody has touched it. Nobody's drunk the soda. So my dad said, you know what? I'm going to ask y'all one more time. Who drunk my soda? And you better tell me. My brother, the oldest twin, he sits there, he looks, and he said, Dad, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So the youngest twin, who is known as the tattletale of the bunch, he looks, and I look over at him. And my mom like, no. The youngest twin, he looks up at my dad. With all of a sudden, the Bambi eyes come, and all of a sudden, they get glassy, and they start to water up, and he just, Dad. And I saw it, and I looked, and it was like a moment in time. Everything froze, and he spoke, and it was like the movie just dragged out. It was terrible. So I look, and I'm just like, no. I couldn't believe it. He rolled over on me and told me. So I said, okay, knowing my slick mentality, I said, okay, all right. I said, I thought about it. Then I said, wait a minute. Our parents always told us, if you tell the truth, you won't get in no trouble. So I knew I'd play that card, the smoke screen. I said, Dad, okay, I did drink it, but Dad, I made sure that I filled it back up so that you would have enough to drink. So my dad looked, he said, all right, you know what? That's all I wanted to know. Oh, y'all can go. So I was like, got him. Once again, it worked. So as we started to file out, he's no, Darrell, you stay. And I'm like, yeah. Well, he said, you know, I'm glad you told the truth. So I'm like, well, that's what you told us to do. But I'm about to give you the business. And I knew what the business was. The business was that I was going to be thrashed. And that was a very crucial whooping there. So, you know, I kind of, the whole myth of tell your parents, if you tell the truth the first time, hey, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You told the truth. I considered that a lie because he proved to me that if you tell the truth, you will be thrashed without prejudice. So as my father commenced with my thrashing and we finished, I never forgot that. And my brothers constantly reminded me, because every family reunion or every time there's a gathering, it's always that, hey, you remember that time you drank Dad's soda? Woo, did I remember? But through it all, it was a learning experience. But who would have known that out of the three of us, the youngest twin being the tattletale, their nicknames were Cain and Abel, the oldest twin being a very evil plotter, and me being the oldest, I was the slickster, very slick. But who would have known all these years later, after all the stunts I pulled, that out of the three of us, that I would end up being the preacher of the bunch, telling people to tell the truth out of all people. God truly has a sense of humor.